What is going on YouTube? Kronos here and welcome back to another PSO2 video. So today we're going to be going over, honestly today's going to be a pretty short video. It's something I kind of hinted at a few days ago, and I'll be honest, Pokemon Legends Arceus has kind of been taking up a bunch of my time, so I just kind of held off on releasing this video immediately, not to totally ruin everything for everyone, but I did want to talk about this ahead of time for you guys, that way you were prepared for it. Anyway, before we jump into exactly what this is going to be, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Chrono. I cover PSO2 content primarily. Would much appreciate subscribe as we work our way towards that 7K mark. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So in spirit of these updates, just kind of like pushing out some stuff that we really didn't all notice, there was one thing that I saw that I immediately realized and almost didn't want to say on stream at the time, because I have a bit of a reputation of when I say something, it tends to affect how people react to certain things. So I just said it anyway at the time. So you guys do catch my streams. Usually you will get a heads up on these things ahead of time. And you're probably like, what is he even talking about? Can you come out and say it already? So with the update we'll be getting coming up in a few days, I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down to it, pop over to new features. There was a very important feature in this list that is going to have a pretty sizable effect on the economy. So we have get your RX ID ready, that's super cool. We have vibe with your new jukebox. This is really good because you're able to actually use these in NGS instead of having to go back to base PSO2, get a hold of a jukebox and get it into your room and then add stuff to it. There's something that new players don't always want to deal with or do or even know how to do. So this is really good for that, and we don't have to go back there to add things to the jukebox. So they'll probably add more songs into more things in NGS. You got the party bonus back. Super awesome. Glad to see that. Not sure why it wasn't there in the first place. Honestly, people always ask, what's the point? Why did they remove the party bonus? I really think this was like an answer to people complaining in base PSO2 of having to be in parties, being able to stack so many different boosts and things like that, that if you didn't stack those boosts, you really couldn't compete. Because they took a lot of those boosts out and they turned them down pretty substantially. So that's the only reason I would think they would take this out, but this is something that should always be a thing. You should always have a reason to be in a party. There should be one more than, just getting the effects from techers, basically. So this is really cool. Party bonus, really like that. We need to see some other system changes with this, by the way. The ability to add people to a party if you're in a mission, or the ability to join an urgent quest and have the ability to form parties before the urgent quest starts up or anything like that at the start, like you used to be able to in base. That was actually pretty important. So all things like that would make things really, really nice. Of course, take on urgent quest across Battle Dia, take on urgent quest and Battle Dia across region. That's super dope. It means the regions are basically more connected. But the better graphics, I'm actually really happy to see this. This is gonna be super cool. But here's the big one: new items added to the item recycle lineup. Now, if we take a look at what this is, I'll actually see if I can I zoom in any for it? Yeah, okay. So we take a look at this closer, we have N experience rare drop rate. Now this is very similar to what we had back in base PSO2 with RDR plus. It was a 250%. It was really, really nice. We traded in X cubes for it at the time, and you would always have them up if you're farming. Now, here's the kicker. This takes AC scratch items or SG scratch items. I don't really agree with the way they're doing this one. The reason for it is you just up the cost of every cheap AC scratch item in the game. There is going to be a premium to them now. The same thing happened. Well, actually, as I'm saying this, when this video gets uploaded, I'm sure plenty of people are going to be scrambling to the market. But essentially what this just did was take the base value of every AC item and raise it. And if you don't believe me, ask the people who played base PSO2 back when we got to the point of making our Guardian Soul weapons and our Guardian Soul units. There was an item called a 4-slot protection that used, what was it? I think it was AC badges or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was called. AC recycle badges maybe, or recycle badges in general. But those badges, essentially you would trade in AC items for the badges, and then you could use the badges as a replacement. That way you don't have to hold on to the AC items, but then you would trade those badges in for those 4-slot protections. It made the average cost of an AC item go from something like 100K to like 2 mil. It was pretty substantial. for quite some time. Well, I'm over exaggerating. It was like 100K to like more like a mil, 1.3 mil or something like that. And it only specifically happened when that new, when we basically got the ability to make our guardian soul, or when it became beneficial or made the most sense to make your guardian souls. That's when that cost went up, because everyone was buying these items frantically to be able to trade them in to get the 4 slot protections. Now you've created a similar situation where now people can trade in items to get these. The big thing here that's going to keep that from happening too terribly is, 1, you can only get 3 of them max a week, and 2, you can also trade in SG scratch items for it. Realistically speaking, this should be substantially lower. AC scratch items should be off of this list. It should just be SG scratch items, and it should be maybe 2 or 3. It doesn't make sense for this to be that expensive in this situation itself. And you are effectively, you're messing with the market basically by releasing this in this sort of way. I would have even taken NX cubes, a trade-in for 1-for-1 basically, like that in my opinion would have been a better course of action than this here. Not that I'm upset to see this. This is great. We needed a way to get a hold of our drop rate bonuses. That's actually kind of cool. And these are stronger than anything we've had ever so far, right? Like, this is really good, but this is also careless because now you've affected the market along with it as well. And I mean, JP players don't complain about it as much, but global players are already complaining that the market feels inflated because they don't have enough Meseta. And if the only way to get this is AC scratch items, and if you're a free-to-play player, you can only get AC scratch items by buying them off the market, then it's going to be really bad. I mean, you could always use SG scratch items, right? But realistically speaking, SG scratch items, you get 1 free a day. And outside of that, you would have to spend your SG to get a hold of them. And that assumes that you don't want the item itself. You get what? I think is it 10? 10 every, no, 50 is a pull. So 10 every 500. So what? This is 600 SG basically for one of these. That's pretty substantial when it comes to cost. So while I agree with this being added in, I don't agree with its implementation. I think it's a bit of a mistake, and it's going to have a bit of a backlash, to be honest, especially after this video when we talk about it. So, but we're not here to cause problems. We're here to report what we see and let you guys know what to be prepared for. So, this just may end up being a situation where people just don't even bother with it. Like, realistically speaking, unless you just have a large sum of extra resources lying around, you're probably not even going to pay attention to this too much, because realistically speaking, you can't guarantee how useful an experience rate up is. Not experience, I'm sorry, the rare drop rate up actually is. We have this being added back in, our try boost basically, 10% for 4 people. Cool, we'll just use that. This basically is people are going to equate this to a whale bonus essentially. That if you spend more money, you're going to have access to an extra 25% rate. But this is RNG. There's no guarantee that this will actually net you anything, nor like do you know exactly what it will get you. So I did want to go ahead and talk about this at the very least to let you guys know kind of what to expect. And I apologize in advance to what's going to happen to the market. Realistically speaking, even if I didn't do this video, it was going to happen regardless. So hopefully those of you guys who follow the channel and follow my content will get a little bit of an edge over everyone else. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching all the way over to the end. Have any other questions, feel free to toss them in the comments below. If you guys have a better idea of how to implement this, like I said, I personally feel like this should either be like substantially reduced in cost or possibly just NX cubes. Honestly, I think we don't get enough NX cubes as it says at the moment. We definitely do need a way to trade in NX cubes other than just, leveling up right now, because they're pretty vicious to come across if you're leveling up a bunch of stuff, unless you're just playing one class. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's recency bias, who knows. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, I'd appreciate a like, subscribe if you want to keep up with more, and I'll be looking out for your suggestions in the comments. Take care, everyone. Peace out.